Miss Joan Pereira.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I rise in support of this bill. Having encountered vulnerable adults and their families in my Henderson-Dawson division, I feel this bill is very timely. There are more people who live longer lives but not always able to care for themselves for one reason or other and becomes vulnerable adults. I'm pleased to note that the bill aims to provide a safe environment for whistleblowers to report abuse and suspected abuse to the authorities. One common reason the neighbors and even relatives and co-workers don't lodge reports is because they are afraid that they will be identified. So, confidentiality is important. But this will pose a challenge under certain circumstances if the authorities decide to take the abuser to court where evidence from witnesses are required. One solution would be for the court to allow voice evidence recorded by police as admissible in court without disclosing the names, address. Or it could be a video recording, but the face of the witness be blurred out to protect the identity of the witness. What is most crucial is that the evidence deduced from the whistleblower and evidence thrown up in the police investigations, such as the injuries sustained by the victim, are the critical factors in the case in convicting the accused person or persons. Second, abuse and neglect often occur when the caregivers are at wit's end. We all would know how difficult it is to handle individuals when they suffer from mental distress. The person may refuse to eat, bathe, take medication, may throw tantrums, create a ruckus, and disturb his or her neighbors. Let me share an example from my Henderson-Dawson division. On some days, as early as 5 a.m., my resident, let's call him Mr. S, gets up and yells vulgarities very loudly. Mr. S lives with his spouse, and the family puts in effort to get him treatment and to take his medication. The spouse does her best to make sure Mr. S takes his medicine regularly, and the VWOs assist when she can't. However, it is not working out, and she has sort of given up. Meantime, the neighbors suffer along with the family. Thankfully, the neighbors are understanding and compassionate. Still, there is a need to find a solution. However, a lot would depend on what resources there are available to the family. Hospitals won't keep an individual in the ward unless there's a medical need to do so. Caregiving homes and hospice care may be out of reach for some, and some fall through the cracks as they do not meet the per capita income for government help, but are unable to afford on their income level. Here is where the family members need help. It's a real dilemma for them. The family members must work, yet the distressed person needs their care and attention. I would like to propose that MSF set up a platform where a family or caregiver who needs help can turn to for assistance or guidance. The ComCare hotline is very visible to residents. I propose that this hotline extend its scope to help families to point them to the right organization. It would help to lighten their load to know who and where they can get help to meet their needs. An intervention by a government agency can save the distressed individual from being relegated from being a loved one to becoming a burden to the family. Once, if they are seen as a burden, then that's where the person becomes vulnerable to abuses of all kinds. There are many cases where, because of the pull between filial piety and financial affordability, relationship between husband and wife becomes strained, or relationship between brothers and sisters becomes strained. Accusations, finger-pointing creates quarrels, and you see a family torn and divided. And worse, the vulnerable adult is abused because the family is unable to find a solution to care for him or her. I hope that in cases where MSF has to intervene, it will weigh the family circumstances so that the action taken would not result in the breaking up of family ties. I know it is heart-wrenching for the family. No one wants to abandon their loved ones. Last, although this bill is targeted at vulnerable adults, similar problems can be observed in children with health problems requiring extensive care, as well as their parents, caregivers, and neighbors. Similar intervention and help should also be extended to such families. Sir, I support the bill. Thank you.